Hello, gentlemen. It is Paulie from the Art of Healthy Dads, Hero. Lovely to see you all. I'll just be waiting for Dan to join us in but a minute. So take your time. We're still a couple of minutes early. Just testing out this new Facebook Live stream because we've been having some technical difficulties with it. So I hope that everything is a-okay and on track. Just checking it out now. Yep, we are live. Fantastic. So guys, we've got a big day or a big evening ahead of us. We had a poll and for all of you, and we decided unanimously that 8:30 in the PM was the most effective time for everyone to jump on a Facebook Live. And what we've decided to do is break down a topic on a regular basis and give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. Today, what we're going to be doing is really understanding exactly how to break down a fitness goal and understand how we can actually achieve it in a methodical and tangible fashion. So Dan is actually just finishing up on a yoga session with one of our hero dads. So he's going to be with us momentarily. But I'd love to get a shout out for everyone who is actually here with us. Sam, I see that you are here with us. Welcome, brother. Good to see you, my man. I'm also just getting an understanding. There we go, Dino. How are you, sir? Good to see you, man. That reminds me, I'm actually just going to change my name up here. Give me a moment. How are you all this evening? Having a good night? Maddie, good to see you, man. Maddie, Dean, feeling strong. I love this, guys. I'm loving the interaction. Like, let's set the tempo right now. These Facebook Lives are going to be so much more powerful if we're interacting together. It is going to be just exponentially explosive if we do that. So thank you for being interactive from day dot. We've got Dan on board. I'm just entering him into the chat room now, and we can begin the lecture very soon. Dan the man, how are you?
Hello. How are you, Paulie?
Good, mate. Just changing that ID. You well, dude?
I'm very well.
Good. I was just telling
here.
the crew that you had just finished up with a yoga session with one of our hero dads.
I did. It was magnificent. I left the whole family on the floor in a shavasana, and I just left them there. Perfect for 8:30 PM on a Wednesday night. But amazing to be here with everyone. Thanks for joining.
We've got some great interaction already. We've got Dino on board. We've got Matt. We've got Sam's on as well. It's just it's pumping in this chat room.
Love it. Love it. How's everyone doing?
Give us a shout out. How are we all? Dino's given us a big flexing of the arms, so he's feeling strong, fit, and healthy. Look, let's get to the topic of today because it's a really important one, and it's something that is relevant to absolutely everybody that wants to achieve anything, really. It's just the most relevant topic in the universe, and that is how to be able to achieve a goal in a meaningful fashion. And we're going to really, really just channel down on how to do this within your health and wellness being able to achieve health and wellness goals through your mind and your body. Dan, anything to add, man?
Well, this is an absolute passion of mine and something I've been developing in my life for, 10 years. And it still feels like I'm learning and developing and breaking down and breaking through. And I think any kind of attempt is something to be celebrated, and practice comes, and then progress comes. And so that's kind of like the mantra of this: practice makes progress. And so consistency, and you've heard it a lot from us, and this is because it's just become our experience, that consistency is key. And life throws us curveballs all the time, and life is unpredictable. And it's how you can still maintain consistency even when things are challenging. And we as your coaches are here for you when it feels like you can't get something done. It's about checking in with us and letting us support you through it, and empowering you to continue showing up even when you think you can't. I think that's when the greatest breakthroughs are made, when mentally you're shot and you realize, actually, I can still do this. I can still get through this. And that is a practice that takes time to develop. And that's why it's really exciting that we've got this group together. We're all on the same journey, and we're all about inspiring each other to continue showing up and being consistent. So yeah, let's roll.
Love it. And Matt's just shouted out and said, breaking down before breaking through. Amen, brother. I couldn't agree more. And thank you for the compliment of my movie posters. If you haven't, we have discussed these briefly in the past on a couple of recordings, but these are two characters and actors that are really meaningful to me, because they've, the character of Rocky, I mean, not to sound too about a boxing movie, but it really is one of the my most cherished movies of all time. It's like a character that is faced with such challenges in his life, and he overcomes them. And it's just such a beautifully made film, and I am a massive, massive fan. And every time I record something, they're just staring back at me through Zoom, and it's a really great reminder. Resilience, being able to move through something that is ultimately challenging when you feel like you're down and out, and then being able to make small progressions is such a validating experience. And you hit the nail on the head, Dan, when you were talking about that. But what I'd love to do is create a little bit of structure behind goal setting, and see if we can actually get some takeaways with everybody this evening. And what I'd love everybody to do is, if you have it available, take out your phone, or even though we're getting towards the late evening and we're not meant to be using technology of our phone or our phones later on, we're going to make an exception tonight. And what I'd love you to do is, have a think about an aspect of your life that you haven't delved into in great depth whilst you've been with us at Hero, because we want to start afresh here. And I'm going to give you some examples that you can really kind of, I suppose that can activate a stream of consciousness for you. And I want you to think about an aspect of your life that you want to delve into and start to develop through goal setting. And I'm just going to give you some examples, that I like to think about on a regular basis. There's obviously physical health. There's your work, or if you run a business, there's, the aspects of being able to do that. There's obviously, your connection with your family, your social life and your community, your mental and emotional health, things like your spirituality, your wealth accumulation, if that is of importance to you. What about your sex life? Your connection with your partner. And if you don't have a partner, your connection with many partners, your creativity, your education. There are so many different things that you can actively decide to develop, but it's really just a matter of having the process in your mind and then going along the path and developing those strategies. So what I want you to do is just select one of these things that you can consider wanting to explore in greater depth over the next month, let's call it, of your life. Give me a nod in the comments, or give me a hell's yeah if you have if you've been able to notify or identify one aspect. So if you don't have your phone, that's fine, guys. Get out a pen and paper. All we need to do is be able to just annotate this in some way, shape, or form.
And what something to kind of connect to this topic as well. There's been so many great accomplishments by everyone in the health and fitness and lifestyle optimization aspects of Hero. And it's how to draw from those great accomplishments, draw on that experience, and bring that kind of passion and intense energy to something else that's separate and apart from those three aspects that we speak about a lot in Hero, and that's what we work in. And Paul did kind of go into some excellent topics, but just to bring your attention to some ways that you've just developed a great skill throughout Hero, and how do you transfer that into something else, because it's the same process. And, it's not about building a new process. The process is already built in, and it's just transferring that to something else that needs attention. And we want to be here to support that as well. And as a group and a community, having this tribe to keep us accountable, that's the idea of what we're doing here. So putting it in the chat box is a statement saying, this is what I want to achieve, and let us help you. It's a really powerful opportunity to do that. Going out of your comfort zone and stating it publicly is so juicy, because it feels so wrong and uncomfortable. And especially if you've been one to hide away and shy away from putting yourself out there, I'm like the number one person for that. I think there's nothing better than putting yourself out there. I
agree. And, being able to make an aspect of your life just at that forefront and conscious is, you're right, Dan, it's uncomfortable, but where your attention goes, energy flows. And if we can really, really bring that out and try and level up the playing field with an aspect of your life. And, we're doing it all the time, even if we're drawing attention to a department of our life, like health and wellness, it's going to naturally kind of lift other aspects of our life, but we're making it a conscious process to be able to do this in other aspects. So I hope you guys have all kind of nominated that part, even if it's in your head, nominated an aspect of your life. That would be really, really great. Dino, you missed the cue for what we're writing. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're just identifying an aspect of our life that we want to develop. Okay. And I shared a few examples from work, business, to family life, to spirituality, to your sex life, anything that really has resonated with you that you want to develop in some way or another. Maybe it's, maybe you feel like it's diminished of late, or maybe you just want it to be the most banging you could possibly imagine, because, we go through seasons of life. And I think if you're focused on one aspect of your life, it doesn't mean you need to be focused on it for the rest of eternity. It's just a priority for you right now. And I think to be able to notify yourself and identify that first and foremost is going to be a really powerful process. So if we've done that, what I'd love you to do is just ask yourself the question, why? Why have you wanted to do that? Why have you identified this aspect of your life? And what I've found when I've done this with myself in the past is my first why never gets me there. My first why is, why do you want to lose 7 kilograms in 12 weeks? Because I want to look good on the beach. Okay, cool. Why do I want to look good on the beach? Because I care about what other people think of me. Why do I care about what other people think of me? Continue to dig. Okay. And this doesn't need to be done right now, but this is food for thought. But get in there, get to the core of it, because, you know, generally speaking, you may have to ask yourself that why up to 5 times or even more to be able to get to that really, really naked, bare why. And once you identify what that naked, bare why is, that's the thing that is going to get you up at 5:30 in the morning to train. If it's raining outside and you need to go for a run, that's the why. Not because you need to look hot on the beach, because that, yeah, I'll tell you right now, if it's raining outside and it's cold, that's not going to get you there. It needs to be a why that is just so moving, that is so earth shattering that you couldn't bear to leave it on the wayside.
Yeah, that's well said, Paul. And yeah, important to really dig deep, because in doing so, you start to create this value system and this vision for your life. And then that's what you always lean into whenever you can't be bothered, you're too tired, it's too cold. Like, what's your vision? And that might, mean to take a day off, and that's perfect too. But then how to get back on the horse? Because I think one of the challenges that a lot of clients face is, what happens if I miss 1 day or 2 days or 3 days? Usually when I miss time, miss showing up to commitments or miss sessions, it's like, well, I'll just give up. But draw back to that why, and that will inspire you to carry on. And it's something that's missing a lot in the work that I've done in this space for a long time, is why I'm doing it. And when you dig deeper from those superficial things, which are totally fine to have, it's not about not experiencing that or having those thoughts, but it's just being willing to dig a little bit deeper. And usually that unearths the gold. And so it's like, how willing are you to excavate that gold? And this is amazing. Like, what we're developing here and building here together as a team is this great opportunity. And I just want to say I'm like absolutely pumped to be here and what we're doing. So yeah, let's hear what anyone has to say. Or Paulie, any questions coming, or any topics or any thoughts? Anyone saying anything?
Well, I'm completely honored to be able to, be present in this space with you guys, and to be able to just work through this together with you. It's like an absolute privilege to be able to, hold this space with you guys, and to be able to hold each other accountable to these goals. And thank you, Dean. Thank you, Matt, for putting yourselves out there, and to be able to say things, things like, really being able to honor your body and to be able to love your body is such a powerful thing. People are saying to be able to use, for so long they've been able to use they've needed to use their body as an excuse for avoiding challenges, comparing their whole self to others, feeling less masculine. And that is vulnerable. That is bloody beautiful, mate. Like, honestly. And thank you for feeling like you're turning the corner, because we're doing it together, man. This is us actually turning a corner together as a community. So I absolutely love this. Next step with this is, whatever you have chosen, is to pick that one aspect that you want to be able to shift or move. So if it is your physical health, just pick one goal about that physical health and just zone in on it completely and utterly. It's not to say that other things aren't important, but right now for this exercise, let's just channel in on that one goal. And I'm just going to give you a moment to be able to do that. And, we can kind of develop that shortly. But for example, if you are waking up lethargic, if you're waking up, dazed, and and you never really feel like you've actually woken up, maybe your energy is 3 out of 10 the entire day. Maybe you want to feel like you want to wake up with an 8 out of 10 energy vibe. or maybe you want to lose 7 kilograms, whatever it is, but get specific. Give yourself if it's not like an amount of kilos or whatever it might be, get specific about annotating a number to yourself and assigning something. That way you can really, really gauge into the future.
Yeah. And a really kind of other juicy aspect to this whole conversation is to not make this intellectual. It's about getting practical. It's like you read a book and it's got really powerful exercises in it, and you think they sound good, but you actually don't do it. And I'm saying that because that's been my experience. So I'll use myself as the example. That does sound good. Maybe I'll do it, or maybe I'll do it later, or maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And does it happen? In my experience, from time to time, yes, and from time to time, no. But I want to kind of like stick, a stake in the ground here and say, make this a practical exercise, and show up and connect with us tomorrow, and let us know you've taken action. It's about having that goal for the rest of the month, but it's also about the journey to get there. So it's like, what can I do tomorrow? So you're having this experience now, and you're taking action now, and you're going to implement it tomorrow. That's kind of like day one of this process. And that's exciting, or else it just becomes another thing to do at another point. And at one point, I know for myself, it was just like, well, what am I waiting for? Like, when am I going to actually start doing? Like, I've built up so much stuff to do. When am I going to actually start doing? And that doesn't mean everything, but chunking it down to the most important, and then why it's the most important. And then it gets clear, and then I start to activate. And so for me, a few things just to bring up some like big changes, I would say, in this last 6 months is, the daily habit of reading. And it really started with that tiny habit approach of like, one line is a success, and usually you'll just keep going. The drink bottle. I mean, it's around. And luckily, my wife Romy, she's a big drinker, and Paulie's a big drinker too, of water, that is. And but having that like available and around means it's unavoidable. And I just think some of us, and I'm included in that, just need things to be easy and unavoidable. So make it that, and put it in a place where it's unavoidable. Being in a shower means it can be hot, and it also can be cold. So I have now really turned the corner when it comes to cold showers. I'm like spending decent chunks of time there, and there's a thrill, there's something going on where I can't, it's like, it gets to the point where I can't not do it, because I know that would be taking the easy road. And that to me is where it becomes automaticity, where it just becomes like, I just have to do it now. It's not even a thought. And when it does become a thought, it's just like effortlessly, like it resolves, because I know I'm staying put. And that just took time. And, I started in winter, and now we're getting into summer. I'm like, I'm excited that I got through that kind of challenging period. And I'm finding it really amazing. And a lot of the things I'm doing for my own benefit and well-being, but I also do it because I want to give back to this group and this community who are trying to do these, great feats too. And it might be in different ways, but we're all on the journey, and we're all learning from someone who's just gone before us. And there's many mentors and inspirations and coaches that both Paul and I have. And I think it's always important to have people who are role modeling a lifestyle that we are attracted to, and asking why that is, and then following those footsteps. And so I just say that's like a huge responsibility. And then we use that and transfer that to our children. And it's like, well, that's the best reason to do any of this, is because we want to give back to our kids and to our partners. And then we want to help our friends when they say, well, how did that happen to you? Aren't you busy? You've got a kid, you've got a couple of kids. How do you make it happen? And it's like, well, there is a solution, because a lot of people feel like there's no solution, and a lot of people feel like they're alone. And so you can be a beacon of light for many, many people. And what a great commitment to not just doing it for your own benefit, but doing it for, the benefit of others too. I mean, that's an amazing lifestyle to live, and you kind of get over thinking about the me project, which is an exhausting project. so the kind of like all-encompassing project of all beings, including ourselves, is much more enjoyable, much more relaxing, much more fun. Test that out too, just like taking it out of this kind of closed system and just opening it up.
And that just beautifully articulates the power of the deepest why you can muster up. Something bigger than yourself is going to fuel action in a really, really meaningful fashion. So thank you for articulating that beautifully, mate. That's absolutely spot on. And from an action orientated level, I mean, you can very easily, in fact, I do this, many people do, we fall into the rhythm of identifying this big, hairy, audacious goal. And that's driving. That's really powerful because we can envision ourselves sometime there in the future. But when it comes to taking action, that can be a really, really intimidating prospect. So what I'd ask you guys to do is reverse engineer that big, hairy, audacious goal to a goal that you can, to an action that you can take on a daily basis. And the way I want you to think about that is, if you've thought about this grand destination, where are you going to be, a month from today, when you ultimately are going to achieve this tremendous transformation? Now, let's use weight loss just because it's a nice, tangible, easy way to go about doing things. Let's say you want to lose 7 kilograms in, let's call it 6 months. 7 kilograms in 6 months. So if we want to be able to achieve that in 1 month, or we want to achieve a step towards that in 1 month, let's say we want to lose 2 kilograms in 1 month. Okay. What are the 3 things that you need to do to be able to achieve that 2 kilograms in 1 month? Would it be moving every single day, perhaps? Things that you can, like you said, Dan, things that you can identify that are achievable, that that you're going to hold yourself accountable to it, and where as a community going to hold you accountable to it as well. But 3 things that that you can do as a bare minimum. So for me, if I wanted to lose weight, it would be move every day, take responsibility for the food I'm putting into my system by preparing it myself, and sleeping 7 to 8 hours every night. Now, I may not do that every day, but that's 3 really, really tangible goals that I can work towards. And ultimately, it's not about being hard on yourself if you don't achieve one of these things on a daily basis, but it's about having clearly set actionable tasks that you can then wake up in the morning and you can say, right, I have a goal in a month's time that is tangible. I have 3 tangible, actionable items that I'm going to execute every day. Tick, tick, tick. So I want you guys to think about those 3 actionable items that you want to attribute towards this goal that you're going to have. And we're going to check in again in a month's time with that.
Perfect, Paulie. I think that sounds great and a perfect place to leave things. Is there anything else coming up for anyone with us? Any other thoughts, questions, considerations?
Yes, love to. I'd love to you guys to ask any questions that you need any kind of clarity on, guys. Maddie, the only thing I can see, because these comments are coming thick and fast, the only thing I can see for you is whiskey. So do you want to drink more whiskey, or I'm not 100% sure of what that is, but I'm sure if I go back through the comments, I'll get more clarity. just going through these comments now.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, we'll have a talk about alcohol. I think in the pure enjoyment of it, I think there's some brilliance, and it can now also be a crutch where there's a dependency. And I'm just sharing that on behalf of many people that have gone through and are going through Hero, and it's something that comes up a lot in the people that we're working with. So I think that's a great topic that we can bring up. I'm not sure, the topic could be whiskey, and we could look at it in many ways, but definitely alcohol as a crutch could be a great topic. So if that feels interesting, give us a thumbs up.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Dean's just asked what are the two of us focusing on individually at the moment. Dan, do you want to contribute anything?
Yeah. I am, well, I mean, I'm still really focused on reading. That's an aspect of my life I'm really driven to bring in on a daily basis. And I say that because where there's extra time, that's time that I want to spend reading. And there's not a huge amount of it. Days are quite full, and fortunately, in the world that I move in, I do a lot of training and a lot of movement. In terms of kind of how I use my body, right now, because of the COVID situation, I haven't lifted a weight like properly since June, and I only had a 2-week period then when I was lifting weights, and then before that it was March. So I'm really focusing in on calisthenics, which was a passion I've had for many years but haven't honed in on it for quite some time, and yoga, because I'm teaching a lot more now, and just breaking down poses, holding poses, and lastly, I would say breath work, which is something that I learned 10 years ago when I've spent many years in India over the last 10 years. And it was always, there were little seeds planted on my journey about the importance of breath, but it just wasn't my focus. And since I've kind of settled back here in Melbourne, and since I've started working more closely with Paul over the last few years, there's just been evidence that it's a really good practice to bring into everyday life, because it's the one constant in our life. So it's good to get to know it. So that's another priority, and there's so much more, and happy to go through my world at one point, and Paul's as well. Paul, what about yourself?
For me, there are a number of things as well. I was very vigilant at the beginning of this COVID period to make my morning time when I woke up my own sacred time. I call it my own personal day spa every morning. And I truly do hold it really near and dear to me, because I've said this before many times. I feel like nobody in the house is awake, and I feel like nobody in the world is awake yet in those sacred hours first thing in the morning. And I use that time to be able to like channel inside of myself, what is it that I want out of today? What is it that I want for myself? And how can I really identify what it is I want without needing to feel the need to please others as well, which is something historically I've been working through as well. So it's really just being able to challenge myself on past practices within that. From a physical perspective, I've really been just recently developing that that balance between strength and mobility, or strength and flexibility, because I've really, really found the value in not just physically, but mentally being able to be strong in the body, but soft as well. And there's an old martial arts saying, and it's steel wrapped in cotton wool. And I love that metaphor, because it's kind of gives you a real essence of being able strong but supple at the same time. And I personally am trying to work every day towards achieving that. Yeah, there are a couple of things that I've just been really working solely towards trying to achieve. Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks so much for your time. Thank you so much for being available, open, and vulnerable, and ready to just explore yourselves and become the best versions of yourself. Because, you know, Dan and I, like for me personally, this is like, I love talking this. Like this is just the greatest evening for me ever, to be able to sit here and talk about this stuff. So I think we're going to make it a regular thing, and we're going to continue to do it over and over again. We're going to check in with you guys as well in a month's time and just see how you guys have gone in those practical, actionable items. Matt has also just reminded me that the whiskey comment was about no Paul. He said no, Paul loves a whiskey. Paul, and you're absolutely correct. Paul does love a whiskey, but he doesn't love the way he feels the next day all the time when he has a whiskey. So that's also something that I'm keeping note of, to be able to say, okay, I love a whiskey to relax on a weekend, but you know, if I have, you know, more than one whiskey, it's like, where do you find that balance? And it's always checking in with yourself, you know. But I digress.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Yes.
this is, I was going to say, this was just awesome. If you're with us live, give us a thumbs up if you want to have this as a kind of, you know, weekly, fortnightly call. We've got a lot in store for this group, and you're a big part of it. So we want to make it work for what you are looking for. So it's a very collaborative group, and so it'd be great to hear what you all think. It is really amazing and an absolute honor. I'm obsessed with this world that we're in, and yeah, this is heaven. So thank you.
It's
Thank you,
absolutely
Paulie.
bliss. It's absolute bliss. And Caesar, so lovely to have you on board. Can't wait to get on the floor with you, mate. Like, I can't wait to get on the phone and connect. And yeah, thanks so much, guys. Thanks for being a part of this. Please shout out, let us know. Just shout out about topics that you'd love us to explore with you guys as well in the future, because this is something that we want to make a mainstay of this really close-knit hero tribe group. You know, we want all of us to be able to trust each other with every inch of our soul. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Dan, thanks again, man.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Paulie. See you soon.
Take care.